Alright, so this tutorial is basically just how to colorize a black and white photograph. It's actually quite simple. So you have to find a black and white image. If you can't find a black and white image, you can just superficially make one. So I'll just show you how to do that real quick. So this is already black and white. You can actually look up here. See how it says gray 8-bit? So I have this one here, and this is actually colored. So I'm just going to show you how I'd make this black and white. So the quickest and dirtiest way to do it is you could literally just go to image, adjustments, and do desaturate. But it doesn't give any control. It just makes it straight black and white, and it's actually still an RGB document. It just removed the color value and kept the value, the black and white. So that's actually not a good way to do it. You could also now, more correctly, but still not as good, go grayscale, and that it's going to actually discolor, and you say yes. And you can see it's better. It is gray, but if you looked at what their suggestion was, it's actually better to do this. You want to go to image adjustments, and then go black and white. And what this does is it allows you to basically tweak these values on how they're going to be portrayed when they become desaturated. So, and some of it gives you a decent amount of control, especially like your reds and stuff when you're doing, let's see, we'll make that a little bit deeper. If you're doing humans, so you can see like this is almost just controlling this. That must be the only thing that's like really green. So I'm going to kind of go like this and keep that up there. And my blues, ooh, that gives me a little bit more. And my purples, I'll take these magentas down. Then you'll hit OK. That'll do that. And then next, go to image, mode, grayscale, hit discard. Then what you want to do is, because now it's technically a black and white photo, and you can save it like this, and then I'm going to go image mode, I'm going to go back to RGB color. Okay, and now it is set up as a black and white image. I had to put back at RGB color because if you don't do that, if you leave it at gray, when I go to try and paint on this, you're going to see no matter what color I grab, let's say I grab this red, you can see it still shows up as gray because it doesn't, there's no, it can't support that. So just know that that's what you're supposed to do. Okay. All right. So I'm actually going to go ahead and color this one. Real basic how we're going to do this is we're not going to color in the actual image. We're just going to put layers. I'm going to make a layer above it. Okay. And see how it says gray right now? I actually got to change this to an RGB image. So that's going to convert it. Well, it don't flatten. Otherwise, I'll just make this one piece, but that way I can keep my layers. Okay. So this is mostly a pink color. I think it's like pink and yellow every other spot, so that's what I'm going to do just to make it easier. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my basic brush. I'm on a new layer. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to find a nice pinkish color. All right. And I'm going to try to desaturate it a bunch like that. Okay. And then when I go to paint on this, you'll see it's just above it, right? So what I want to do is if I change my mode, I shall leave that there so you can see. If I change my mode to color, it'll now only be adding color information, but it'll leave the value alone, okay? So see how this is kind of a straight line? So I'm going to click like that. I'm going to hold shift, click like this, and it draws sort of a straight line. All right, and I will go through and basically hand paint this image, trying to follow those edges as best as I can. Okay, so that's basically how you would do it. So just do this, and then there you go. And I might use my brackets next to the P to make my brush bigger and smaller. Okay, and then we'll just say that this one's supposed to be pink. All right. This would be a good thing to use a Wacom tablet with. So we'll go like this. All right. I could probably hit G to use the paint bucket and paint in there because I drew the outside. So I could just paint bucket inside of it. That's like if I draw a circle and I use the paint bucket tool, it'll fill in the inside of the thing there. So it makes it a little bit easier. So that's something you can do. Just draw the outside and then do that. Another thing I can do, so I might do all my pinks like that, is I'll make another layer and I'm going to again switch this to color. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and grab the baby here, right, to do my skin. So I could try to just manually do it, and actually for that it might make the most sense. actually I'm gonna do the dress because it's got a kind of a definitive edge. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to use the, I'm not gonna use the magic wand tool. I'm gonna use the quick selection tool because it's based on edges. And I'm just gonna kind of click and drag to try and grab edges. Now you see how it's not really doing much. So good. What I gotta do is to be on this layer. I'm gonna double click on it to unlock it. And now it's grabbing it because I was selecting on an empty layer, so it doesn't work. So just make sure that you're on that layer. So I'm just gonna kind of click and drag around, okay, and go like that. All right, now I'm just gonna hold Alt to remove from my selection. Try to do a little bit at a time. Good. All right. Okay. And going around. Make sure all that's gone. Trying to get in there. Okay. I got a little bit of the diaper there. Looks like I got her foot, which I didn't want to. Alright. So on and so forth. Alright. So it's doing an okay job. Okay, so I might do something where maybe I hit like Q real quick to see what I need to add and remove, and then use my brush to further just make it more accurate, you know. I remember hit X to switch between the background and foreground color. And I'm just going to kind of try and clean this up. It's not going to be great, but I'm just, oops, X, wrong way. Okay. But I might go through and clean this up. I'm not going to do a great job right now. You're just going to have to imagine that I did a great job, which I know is difficult, but do the best you can. Okay. Obviously do a nicer job some more time on it. All right, so we're going to say that's good. So I'm going to hit Q to, or push this button. This is the toggle, okay? Also Q is the hotkey. So now I got this selection. Now I'm going to switch back to layer 2. I'm not off of this layer, otherwise I'll be painting on this layer. And I'm just going to make this dress like a weird greenish color, because that's what I feel like doing. Then I'll hit G, or just hold this down, the bucket tool, and I will paint on that layer, okay? Now, if I hit Command D, it'll clear my selection. And I may or may not like that color. I kind of don't like that color. Let's go more of a yellow. Be wary of going super saturated. Try to actually go more in this gray area down here. It's a little more natural. So let's turn this off. Oh, apparently I did the foreground color. So I'll just kind of paint like that. I just turn those layers off. And then I can change the opacity here to like make it stronger or weaker. And so you can use the selection tools to kind of block out areas as well. But basically, you're just going to go through and you're going to paint. You're just going to add layers on top of each other. And then if you need to do adjustments, I can select this layer and do an adjustment on it. So like if I want to use the hue saturation instead, use colorize. I can try to adjust the color of that. So saturate a little bit more. Change it to, let's say I want it to be blue. Okay. Now you notice it's doing to everything. So I just have to right click on this and go to create clipping mask, and it'll only affect just that one layer. And now when I go to make these adjustments, make it more of a purplish or something. We'll make it a little bit, okay. And I could make a, now mind you though, any kind of thing like lightness makes no difference. The more black or white I add, the more gray it's going to get. So you just have to be aware of that. Okay, so and so you can do adjustment layers to these as well if you need to, but I would only bother doing the ones that are going to affect color. So doing things like exposure or balance aren't really going to make that much difference because it's just color that you're affecting. Okay, so you're just going to go through and you want to try and make it look as best you can. I'm just going to do a quick little example of the skin here, so I'll just do a brush. Skin should be pretty pale, more like this. Let it be. Oops. Oh no, that was okay. I got to make sure I'm on color here. So you can see that looks like it might be a bit much. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this down even more. Okay. But you have to be careful. It's real easy to overdo it. Okay. Like so. Just going to do a little bit of the face here so you get kind of an idea. I'm just manually doing this, obviously. All right. Okay. So obviously just look for the appropriate flesh tone. It's easier if you have the actual color photo or something to work from. Then I'm just going to go ahead and add a little more red to, and I'm going to change my brush here from a hard brush to a soft brush. Okay, using my brackets here. And I'm going to change my opacity to make it a bit weaker. And I'm just going to add a little bit more of a fleshy color. See how like a little bit, I don't know if you can see it, but a little bit of variation goes a long way. And then maybe we'll add a little bit more of a creamish color. Okay, and some other spots. But try to add variation within the skin. If you do just one flat color, and actually even for other things as well, but especially that you can look at yourself, and if you look at your skin, there's a range of hues throughout. So make sure that you're trying to add some variation within there. All right, so that's it.